Oh, yes, clear those nodules, Phil. We're in for a landing.
Yes, 6 nights a week, Bruce. It's good to see your face.
Is it too much?
No, not really. No, I miss you on a Saturday night. We should spend it together.
Please, no.
Go to a movie, have dinner together.
Oh, no, thanks.
Get to know each
Have you
other.
seen any films?
Not for ages. I haven't been to a movie since I can't remember when. I've got a few on DVD that I'm looking forward to seeing. The Joel Edgerton movie, The Gift, a thriller that everyone's raving about. I want to see The Martian with Matt Damon. Boyhood, about that little boy who over 15 years, every 2 years, they went back and filmed more of the story. Jersey Boys, the story of the beach.
You've quite a lot to see, haven't you?
Frankie Valley. And also Love and Mercy, the Brian Wilson story. Yes, I've got a bit of catching up to do when I retire.
Oh, is that on the cards?
Well, I want to watch the movies, it is. I don't get any other time.
That's interesting.
No, yeah, I'll give you a fair warning if I'm about to use the R word.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, you'll get a memo. But
Well,
for
it's
now,
what last day of the Spring Racing Carnival tomorrow, isn't it?
yeah, Emirates Cup Day, State Day.
Hasn't been a cold Cup Day, Cup year
been
week.
very bleak, but they've had record numbers, I think, despite the weather. People have turned up. Did you see in the paper during the week? I'd like some feedback about this. This is from America, of course. Almost 1 in 5 Americans believe they have seen a ghost. Yes, almost 20% said they had nearly come face to face with a ghost, although scientists put their beliefs down to hallucinating. I'd love to know, and Steve of Greenvale will contribute, have you ever seen a ghost or an apparition of some sort? Or are you a clairvoyant or a clairaudient? Do you possess ESP powers?
I'd like to know if anyone has been hypnotised. That's a bit like seeing a ghost for me.
Yes.
You are so strong-willed that you go to a stage and there's a fellow bestowing some spells on you, and I would be too strong-willed to go under the hypnosis, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, and is it fake anyway?
I
These
don't
people who are performing on stage, you know, maybe they're just exhibitionists wanting to make a show themselves.
And yet there are people on stage, they can talk about people's history, their background, their father, their mother, their grandparents.
Yeah, I'm very sceptical about it.
Oh, I think we all are.
I did a television show with a man called Martin St. James, long time ago. And, you know, he's grabbing people out of the audience, but were they stooges, you wonder?
You'd never know.
Then there was Franklin, wasn't there, earlier, Franklin? He did a show called W Dollars on
Do you
Channel
remember
9.
there was a husband and wife team? A husband and wife team that would go into an auditorium and he would pick up the handbag of somebody in the back row,
Yes.
unbeknownst to his wife on stage, and she would then rattle off what was in that handbag.
Do you remember their names? I'll tell you.
What were they?
I'll tell you. Sydney and Leslie Piddington.
Piddingtons.
How's
That's right.
They were on
Yes.
3KZ for a
You've got a
while.
good memory.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, a great act for radio.
Yeah, well, it was. But again, were those people?
So plucking out of this handbag, what is in the purse?
Yes. But are they plants in the audience?
Oh.
And does she give him clues, you know, word association
If we're
clues?
going to discount everything, is there no magic left in life, Phil? Sorry, where is Father Christmas?
Sorry, Bruce.
Where's the magic fairy?
No, I think I'm working with him. No, but, you know, I'm a bit cynical about hypnotists and, well, magicians are on the level because you don't know how they do their tricks. But, you know, clairvoyance and clairaudience, I have my doubts. There was a lady in America, wasn't there, who predicted the assassination of JFK. She was famous. Can't think of the name now.
No, I can't. There was Doris Stokes who came out to Australia.
Yes.
Didn't she? She was quite good.
A good show person, yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, was she on the level?
Do you know the name of the man who not discounted her, but questioned her ability?
James Randi,
Yes.
on the Don Lane Show.
Yes, all right.
We'll never forget him. So there you are, folks. A topic for conversation on this 2-hour Friday show. Do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever seen one?
Get in quickly because we've got Pancake Parlour vouchers and Hamper World Christmas hampers to give you.
Great reaction to the topic.
Oh, fabulous.
Look.
Now, the great Aussie sickie is falling out of favour. Do you remember we used to go to school and maybe in your first job you always had to get a doctor's certificate
Yes.
and a reason for being away from work. was sort of mandatory, wasn't it?
Yes, but when we were young, we were always getting sore throats because until we had our tonsils out, we were always sick.
Yeah, but the sickie was to get a doctor's certificate and proof that that you were staying at home for a very good reason.
I think you still need that.
I don't know whether you do or not. But it's dropped to 7-year lows. Bosses said that staff had taken time off to deal with stress and anxiety or depression, or maybe looking after their own family, their own children.
Yes. Now, let me ask you about this, because I don't know the answer. I know there is a clause there for compassionate leave too. If a loved one were to die, maybe you take the rest of the week off. Would that also apply if you lost a beloved pet?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose it might.
It's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't know.
Nor do I.
Maybe people have had experience with any of these topics that we've raised.
Yeah.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
Extra subnormal influences.
Getting huge reaction.
Yes. Wonderful. 96900 is the phone number. 96900
Yeah, as Bruce said, we have prizes. And being Friday night, you know, our 6th night of the week, it's sort of a laid-back night. We're just here to be the glue between the bricks. You're here to entertain us, really. We want you to ring in and entertain us.
That's right. It's a bit like Burke's backyard. If you like, we can talk about retaining fences and building up some soil erosion, that type of thing.
Yeah, but it's a bit like the quiz Jeopardy, the boots on the other foot. Instead of us being here with topics and gags and everything, you contribute and you turn it around and make us amused.
Yes, you come in with some topics.
Yes, you might be asked to replace us sometime.
Now, you love your pets, don't you? And I'm fascinated that Maribyrnong and the city of Whitehorse allow pet lovers to keep 3 adult dogs and cats, while a large majority of Melbourne councils only allow 2.
Yes.
But you can earn up to 8 rabbits, guinea pigs, mice, ferrets in Maribyrnong. Even crocodiles.
Oh.
I'm interested where that bylaw may have started, perhaps 100 years ago.
I suppose every council have separate bylaws.
But I suppose 100 years ago it may have been a rural establishment where there were guinea pigs and maybe the odd crocodile or whatever it might have been. Why was Maribyrnong and Whitehorse allowing this influx of animals?
Maybe because there was more space in those shires.
It was a country centre.
Exactly. But I don't have the answer. But I think where I live, two pets are the maximum you're allowed to have or register.
What are the pets that are not allowed? I suppose snakes, pit bulls.
Maybe snakes, under supervision, maybe. Spiders and snakes.
There was a couple in the age yesterday with a crocodile in their hand.
Yeah. Oh, they'd have a special permit, I suppose. I don't think you'd be allowed to keep foxes or dingoes.
Oh, definitely not.
No, they're vermin, I believe.
Wouldn't think at all.
Yeah.
All right, 96900 Now, we'll take a break, and Joy, you're with us, along with Therese at Hallam. Yes, we've got the ratings from last night, the television ratings, Phil.
Oh, yes, Bruce, what came in number 1?
Not necessarily in this order, but this is the top 10 in Melbourne. Nine's News did well, Seven's News again. First and second half hours of both news services. A current affair, RBT, ABC News. What's RBT?
Follows the activities of police units.
Ah, right.
It might be cameras mounted on dashboards.
Do they blow into the breathalyzer?
I think it's sort of remote cameras on dashboards.
Is it?
Yeah.
Home and away, and then the first test, Australia versus New Zealand.
All right. Any sign of the Chasers media circus there?
Yes, the chase is in the breathing down the neck, and the Chasers media circus.
Okay, and what about Sherlock on ABC?
Not mentioned.
Oh, okay. Or Gogglebox?
No. Oh, yeah, Gogglebox just outside the 10.
And Jill loves that, and she's not done.
You either love it or loathe it.
No, she's hooked on it.
I find it very embarrassing, don't you?
Haven't caught it, thankfully.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
All right, Joy at Dalesford, good evening.
Oh, good evening, gentlemen. Look, I think I came in on the conversation late, but I think you were talking about sick leave, and you mentioned employees not actually taking sick leave these days. Well, I think that there's, you might want to know that this is such a thing as carers leave, and we've just signed our agreement with our employer at work, and I think that there's actually I think there's 15 days per annum where you can take sick leave, now carers leave, and my partner died in 2012 and he had cancer and I just soldiered on and I very rarely took leave and I didn't know and no one made me aware that there was carers leave. So I think that's an important point to think about.
My word, it is.
And then also you were talking about animals, and I've worked with people who have been very, very sad at the loss of an animal, and someone lost a horse, and she was obviously very upset. And thirdly, you mentioned hypnosis, and a friend of mine had hypnosis for smoking, which worked for a little while, but she's back smoking now, so it might depend on the hypnotist, or it might depend on her lack of motivation.
Yes, of course. So you didn't clarify for me, if I was to lose my pet, am I entitled to compassionate leave?
Well, I think that most people are responsible. I can't imagine anyone in my workplace taking a day off for losing a cat or a dog or a horse. I don't know if you're entitled to it. I don't think you are. I think animals are a really, really important part of life, but I think most people would reserve that degree of grief for a person.
Well, not necessarily. If you lived on your own, you'd had a pet for 17 years or something, you're entitled to be hurting.
Oh, you would. I agree entirely. You would be very, very upset in that circumstance. And I think probably I would, in that circumstance, I'd be full of grief and take some time off. But I haven't been in that particular situation to lose an animal. But yeah, I just thought I'd add that to the mix.
Oh, good of you to do that. Thank
good call.
Thank you very much, Joy.
Interesting.
I appreciate that very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good night. Therese at Hallam.
Hi guys, how are you?
Yeah, good, Therese.
Good. I just wanted to tell you, talking about ghosts, yeah?
Yes.
We were last weekend in Ballarat in Statford for calisthenic competition, and the whole club stand in a caravan park.
Yeah.
And my daughter was doing some sewing for a costume, and I looked at and I said to my daughter, there's a woman standing over you. And she said, don't creep me out. And she had a kid like an Alpine dress on and an apron over from the Victorian time, yeah? And like she was telling her how to sew, and all of a sudden she was sitting next to her, and then she disappeared. And when we went in the theater, in that old theater, all of a sudden I had a woman standing right in front of me and looked at the competition. She had a cap on with the bow in front like the Victorian time too. And I said to the usher, I think you have a ghost in here. She said, yeah, I know, we have a woman here. Anyway, and she called the other usher and she said, Barbara, this woman just saw the woman. She said, yeah, I saw her too today.
Goodness me.
In that old theater. She was dressed like she's going out.
Yeah.
And just tell us, where is the theatre again?
In Ballarat.
Which theatre?
South Street.
There's always the competition from...
Oh, yes, we know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating.
Well, that's interesting that so many people witnessed that that woman doing the knitting.
Yes.
Woman Barbara, she said, yeah, I saw her too today.
Oh, spooky.
Yeah, very spooky.
A lot of people seen her.
And maybe she died in the theatre, did she?
Yeah, she was from the 1930 or something in a committee because they showed me a picture.
Oh.
She was the only woman in a committee. And I was exact that woman.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the first time I saw a ghost.
Yeah, and you weren't scared?
No, actually not. They looked very, very kind.
Yes.
No, I was not scared. I always thought I would be scared, but I wasn't.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Therese.
Okay. No.
Thank you very much, Therese. Yeah, interesting. That South Street competition was the focal point, wasn't it, for every amateur and professional group and everyone from years ago.
Like the Scenario Award, very similar. Yes, you're so right. It's still running, I think. South Street competition.
Where did that all start? I suppose it had its history in Ballarat all those years ago for repertory and amateur and professional performances.
I imagine so, yes. Hello, Margaret.
Yeah,
Hello.
Marg.
Margaret, yeah, this is Margaret from Glenroy.
Yes.
I was listening last week, and I don't know whether it was to you guys, but this is the first time I ring because I never got your number. And working class men, she was asking who sings that. And I didn't know, and it is sung by Jimmy Barnes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think I heard Andrew and Simon talking about that with Jake Hurley.
Yes, you would have.
Yes. So I thought I'd let you know because I tried to ring your number, and I forgot 900.
Yes.
96900 693.
That's
That's the one, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, kind of you to ring. Thanks so much. Yes, discussion on Australia overnight a couple of nights ago.
I think some Irish lady sang it too. Was her name Rita McCann?
Yes.
Working class mate?
Yes.
I believe.
Yes, she did. She did. Anthony, good evening.
Good evening, Bruce and Phil. How you going?
Yeah, good, Anthony.
Anthony.
Good. A long time no speak. I haven't had the time to call in.
Right.
But I've got a quick riddle for you first, and then I'd like to finish off with a song.
Yeah, sure.
So the riddle is there's 30 cows, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
How many didn't?
Yeah.
38 cows.
No, 30 cows, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
Didn't what?
Oh, that'd be spoiling it.
Oh, okay. Now, what's
30
this?
cows, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
Oh, I see. Yes, I've got it. Yes, yes. 30 cows, 28 chickens, and of course 2 didn't.
Ah, very good.
Two didn't.
You had me in, Anthony.
Two didn't.
No, 10 didn't.
How come?
38 cows, 28
Thir-
chickens.
no,
Oh,
there's 30
10.
cows.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
It is. I think I don't know if you remember me, the singer from Tarneet.
Yeah, what's your song tonight?
I've got a Elvis one called Young and Beautiful.
Okay, a few bars.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
You're so young and beautiful, and I love you so. Your lips so red, your eyes that shine the stars that glow. So fill these lonely arms of mine and kiss me tenderly. Then you'll be forever young and beautiful to me.
I reckon Anthony sings in a church choir, don't you?
Oh, he's got a very good Elvis sound about him too.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, for those softer, quieter ballads.
We enjoy that.
Very good, Anthony. Thank you. Thanks for that. 28 past 10.
Go 28 to 11. Our number is 96900 693.
What about the woman who stripped to her undies on Oaks Day? What did you think of that?
And Neil Mitchell found it very appealing. I thought it was very off-putting and vulgar. Personally, what did you feel?
Yeah, well, I didn't know. It was teeming with rain. The poor thing didn't know where to go, so she stripped down. She wasn't naked by any means.
Didn't have a very gorgeous figure, did she?
Well, I don't think that's part of it. I think she just wanted the convenience of changing.
Yeah, I thought she made a bit of a spectacle of herself. Some people would have been embarrassed.
Oh, I suppose you're right.
I squirmed a bit when I saw it.
Did you?
Even Peter Hitchener raised an eyebrow.
Oh, really?
I thought so.
And did that stay cocked?
Well, he never shows emotion, but on that occasion
well,
he did.
He would have.
I think
seeing,
he showed disdain.
after seeing that. And then there was the woman who pushed the policeman. Oh, that was.
Yeah, she got charged for doing that.
Well, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I think it was only a prank on her part,
But even so, it was quite a hefty push, wasn't it?
she's lucky she wasn't tasered or shot.
Yeah, well, no,
Oh,
shot.
really?
No, shot.
Well,
But,
might have reacted.
harsh. isn't it?
Overreacted.
Jenny at Pakenham. Hello, Jenny.
Hello there, Bruce. How nice to you.
Hello again, Jenny.
Hello, Phil. And Bruce, you sound really well.
We're all well. Thank you, Jenny.
I'm so glad you're back.
Good girl.
It sounds as though it's the way things should be.
That's the way.
Continued good health, Bruce. Now, Phil,
Yeah.
you've got to go see the film called The Dressmaker. You'd absolutely love it.
I thought it was a bit of a chick flick, Jenny.
Oh, no, I just said to David, there were as many men in the cameo as there were women.
Oh, yes.
And we laughed a lot. And
Okay.
I think that's what's missing in a lot of movies.
Is it-
Oh, yes, you're right.
Is it based on a true story?
Yes.
All right.
And look, there's Kate Winslet, and the rest of them are all Australians. You
Yeah.
know, Weaving, Judy Davis, Shane Bourne, Rebecca Gibney, Shane Jacobson, really good actors. It was really Phil, and that's why I like Australia.
All right.
You know, it was full of that. What do we call it? What we call it? Self-deprecating attitude.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Would it-
yes,
would
yeah,
it be-
very much so.
How would it be received overseas? Would they like it?
I think so. It was lovely, Phil. There was nothing embarrassing about it.
All right.
What you're referring to.
It's quite violent towards the end, isn't it?
A bit, but nothing to squirm over, really.
Okay.
I loved it, Phil.
And only a cold-blooded murder, I'm told.
Oh, really? No, she was falsely accused, and she was a child.
Okay.
Anyway, please see it. And also, I want to tell you, I left South Africa on this day 44 years ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, really?
So I left as a girl, and now Australia's made me the woman I am.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. You're glad you made the move.
Oh, my goodness. A better move I could not ever have made.
All right, good to hear, and congratulations, Jenny.
Thank you. And lastly, I was hypnotised in the 70s.
Oh, yes, was it for
I was
real?
suffering with anxiety. And I dare say that would be part of immigration, you know,
Yes.
loneliness, etc., and young children. And anyway, it was done by a professional person, and it really did me the world of good.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
You've got to be, what he called it, a good subject.
Yes, yes, I hear
Not
that.
everybody can go along and be hypnotised.
No.
All right.
it was
Thank you, Jenny. We know of a person who was a chain smoker and went under hypnosis and was cured.
Yeah, thankfully, yes.
So it does work, doesn't it?
Yes.
If you're liable to be able, to go under.
Yeah, and you'd need to apply your own willpower as well.
No,
I must just say, Jenny mentioned Hugo Weaving, not one of my favourite actors. However, I have a lady friend, her name is Vivi. She's in makeup. She's in Pemberton, WA at the moment, making a movie about Aboriginals. And she's working with Hugo Weaving. She said he's the nicest bloke in the world. And this week, Tony Collette's coming on the scene as well to be part of the movie.
Of this film.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any denying he's a nice bloke.
No, but, I'm always panning him as an actor and Sam Neill, so apparently he's a nice bloke.
Yes, you have a real hatred or a real disdain for those two actors.
Yeah, I don't
I'd
know
like to know why.
No, their work doesn't appeal to me, but
Oh.
they must be decent human beings.
So the characters they play are not...
Perhaps, yeah. Yeah, no, I just don't enjoy their movies, but I might give this one a go.
only playing a part, I suppose.
Okay, Bruce.
No? What do you
yeah.
think? Nick, hello, Nick.
Yeah, g'day, boys. How you going?
Good.
Yeah, I want to talk to Phil, if I may.
Of course you can, Nick.
Mate, what's going on with the cop shop there in High Street and Kew? What happened to that?
Oh, that closed 10 years ago or more.
Oh, I used to be a member there.
But they moved to Burundara. They're now in Harp Road, East Kew.
Yeah, in the I was a young constable there in the oh God, 30 years ago.
Yeah, so what's happened now, what used to be the Kew Police Station is now a museum and arts centre.
Oh, is it?
And next to it, where the post office was formerly, is the QPO restaurant. And the courthouse is also used for dramas as well.
Right. Well, it wasn't when I was there. It was there was a magistrate's court next door.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The court is now for arts and entertainment.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
it was very brutal when I was there.
Yeah, so it's all changed, Nick, but that was years and years ago.
But how's your little dog going?
He's good. He'll be listening right now, Nick. His name is Oro. He's gorgeous. He's 6 months old and he's very willful and has a mind of his own.
Does he?
Of course, don't they all?
Well, I don't know. I've got. I rang up a couple of weeks ago with my Rottweiler Brutus
Yeah.
with the Kong.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the Kong. That'll keep him occupied. They're a wonderful gift, aren't they? A wonderful toy.
Oh, yes, the dogs never get bored.
All right, Nick, thanks for your call. A caller rang to say that RBT is the TV show that stands for Random Breath Testing.
That'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it? A program on that every week.
Well, it isn't for the public. It's in the top 10, and they obviously love it.
Yeah. Wouldn't you have to give you permission if they were filming you being tested?
Well, they blot the face out. It can only, it's only sort of...
Pixelated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you find that mobile phone cameras are annoying on the news? Yeah. I mean, it's the only evidence they have of whatever the item is, but generally there's such poor quality.
Yes, and worse, there's a frame either side of the picture.
Yeah.
If they turn the phone up the other way, like side on, it would fill the whole screen.
Oh,
but people don't realise they should do that.
That's right. Make the picture so much better. Oh, how
they have it vertical and there's, half of it's chopped off.
Please don't use it. 20 minutes to 11.
Good night, Richard.
We talk about Friday night, sort of a man cave, isn't it? It's where men bury themselves in the shed, the back shed.
Yes.
Next to the chook run.
They often do, yes.
The back shed with the esky, tools in silhouette where the spanners were all painted in. Black and white TV and a deck chair generally is what you associate with the man cave.
Yeah.
But no, now there's the new Game of Thrones medieval cave, Balinese gazebo, yoga studio, a palm tree forest, and $100,000 worth of gardens. These are the upmarket man caves that are being built into homes that are being sold today.
And some of them are up for sale, I believe. Care to buy one, Bruce? Would you like an underground do-it-yourself man cave?
No, what I'm saying is that what's in the ladies' cave? You don't hear about ladies' caves, or is she just happy with one room on her own?
When you were young, did you have your own cubby house in the tree?
Oh, yeah.
A tree house?
But man caves, how have they changed in your lifetime? 96900 693. More elaborate? The studio, the movie, all part of man's escape. But what does a woman escape to?
I saw a photo there of one with a huge TV screen in the man cave.
That's right, yeah.
Like a home cinema.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Ron, good evening.
Good evening, Bruce and Phil. How are you?
Good day, Ron.
Excellent. I listen to you every night on the way home. I just love your show.
Oh, you're lovely. Thank you.
No worries, mate. I've never rang you before, but I just had to address the young lady that was on before that said she didn't understand how a person could want to take time off work for their loved pet dying.
Yes. Well, I was quite shocked by her reaction.
Yeah, well, I had a puppy dog named Bronson for 14 years, and I was also a nighttime taxi driver. So when I got home at night, the only person to see me was my dog.
Yeah.
And then I'd wake up in the morning, the only person I'd talk to was my dog. And then when my dog passed away, it was like losing a child. There's nothing more. Even talking about it now, it still upsets me a little bit.
I understand.
Yeah. But as far as bereavement leave goes, you're not actually allowed to have bereavement leave for animals. It's not in the laws. But I work for Office Works in Lovington, and when my puppy died, they realised how sad I was. And not only did they give me a week off, they actually paid me for that week off too.
Oh, how terrific were they, Ron?
Yeah. Well, that was just fantastic. I've only been there for less than 6 months, and I can see how upset I was.
Yeah, have you replaced that dog yet?
No. It's been about 1.5 years now. I just can't do it. I mean, it was my best mate. Yeah.
Yeah, but, you need companionship. He'd understand.
Oh, still got the wife.
Oh, yes.
Hey, I think she comes second.
It's not too hot on a lead, though, is she?
Well, I could put her on a lead, but she'd bite me.
I know.
Okay,
yes.
we should give her a Kong.
Oh, she could. She could nibble that all day in the backyard.
All right,
No
Ron.
worries, gentlemen.
Thank you,
I listen Monday to Friday. I love your show, and I'll keep listening while I live in Melbourne.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
Thank you, Phil.
I'm glad that you they looked after you at where was it?
Office Works.
Office Works.
Yeah, how decent. And of course, Ron, we come back Sunday night at 8 for Remember When for a 4-hour nostalgia show.
Why?
Well, he said he hears us Monday to Friday.
So
I'm encouraging him to hear us on Sunday.
Colleen at Mornington. Good evening.
G'day, boys.
Yeah, Colleen.
Just a quick ghost story. Bruce, I'm the history buff. I go to Mississippi, Louisiana, and all that.
Old Civil War.
Absolutely. And I went on this tour to this, it was called the Unfinished Mansion. And what happened during the Civil War, the Confederate was around the building, and what happened, the Yankees were coming, so they all took off, and it was unfinished, meaning it was not completed in building. But stating that, it was the tour, and I was there, sitting there underneath the live oak tree, looking at the old stables, and I saw 4 soldiers in the Confederate Army walking past, and behind the stables, and and I said nothing. And about 10, 15 minutes, I went back into the plantation, into the building, and I said to the tour operator, "What time's your reenactment happening?" And she said, "What do you mean?" And haven't you got reenactment happening? And she had no idea what I was talking about. There was no such thing as reenactment, but there was. And I said to him, "I saw Confederate soldiers behind the old stables."
Oh.
So you worked that one out.
Gee, that's frightening.
Gee, I believe you, Colleen.
Yeah, I promise you I never had any moonshine or mint-juleps, but I sat there and I saw 4 soldiers walk past.
Because you could be swept up with that emotion. You're very much into that era.
Mm.
Oh, absolutely.
It wouldn't take much for the imagination to paint a picture.
Oh, yeah, but let me tell you, I mean, I like to play Scarlet, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, if you saw all 4, did anyone else see them that day, or only you?
I was sitting just catching my breath, like it was quite warm. Yes, it's quite warm, and so I was just sitting under the tree. It was a beautiful surrounds and all this, and it was just. They found the house in 1950s. They only found the house in the 1950s, and because it was overgrown and all that. But stating that, I did see 4 Confederate soldiers.
Well, I believe you.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, as you said, yes, I can get whipped up with the, excitement and just the thought of the spirits being there, if you want to say that. But geez, I tell you what, I had to pinch myself.
Oh, you would too, Colin. That's amazing. Yeah. Good story. Thank you so much. And let's go to Graham at Beaumaris.
Hi, Graham.
Okay, I'll tell you this quick so that fit it in. After midnight, I heard my wife get up to go to the bathroom, and she walked past and she said, "There's no need for you to get up." And I said, "I'm in bed." And she said, "What can I see in front of me?" "I can see a man. I can see right through it." And that was that. And then 2 other occasions she'd seen him around the house. And we were out, came home one day, son there with his girlfriend, and she said, "Are you going to tell them what we saw? We saw this man standing over there." And then there was another occasion a visitor came and also sighted it. So that's it.
Okay, well, let me ask you.
Quite used to him being
Okay,
around.
so what's happened in that house? Was there a murder in that house, or did someone die there?
Have no idea. We only lived there for 3.5 years.
What was he in the bathroom, was he?
No, all over the house I saw him. My son saw him upstairs near his bedroom.
Goodness
me. Wife saw him near the kitchen, and also they'd seen him a couple of times in the television room. I'm crooked on it because I never saw him, but I did walk on a hot, humid night through to the bathroom, and I passed through about 2 feet of absolutely icy air back to warm, humid air.
Well, if he was in the home that long, I'd be charging him rent.
Well, yes, he sure wasn't an intruder. Well, maybe your wife had a fella on the side.
I never know, Graham.
That she wasn't telling you about.
Thank you for the story, Graham.
Do you believe the story, Bruce?
No.
Oh, well, I do. I'm inclined to.
Hello again. This is John Doremus with the Passing Parade, the story of a guileless beauty. The divorced wife of an English East India clerk who rose through many love affairs to pluck the choicest matrimonial plum from Napoleon's glittering court. Her name was Catherine Grand, and I'll be back with her story after this message.
Stop at the curb. Look to the right. Look to the left. Look to the right again. Then if the road is clear of traffic, walk straight across the road. Walk straight across the road. Stop at the curb. Look to the right. Look to the left. Look to the right again. Then if the road is clear of traffic, walk straight across the road. Stop at the curb. Look to the right. Look to the left.
She was born Catherine Worley, daughter of the harbor master of the French-held Indian port of Chanterongue in 1762. 15 years later, a lustrous blonde, she married a clerk in the British East India Service named Grand. Her subsequent involvement with a prominent British official prompted her husband to pack her back to her parents. They in turn packed her off to London, from where she found her way to Paris, where in 1791 she became the mistress of the wealthy Viscount de Lamberté. It was a lucky break for the lovely Mrs. Grand, for Lamberté left his entire fortune of gold plate and diamonds with her when he bolted with other French aristocrats from the wrath of revolutionaries. In due course, Catherine befriended a flighty Martinique Creole widow named Josephine de Beauharnais, who was then enjoying the attention of the rising young General Napoleon Bonaparte. Shortly afterward, Napoleon brushed aside the Directory and made himself dictator of France. Prominent among his aides was the wealthy and astute Maurice de Talleyrand, who was fascinated by the exquisite Dame Blonde. As his mistress, she became a political and social leader. Her soirees were the most sumptuous in the capital. Diplomats who wished to treat with Talleyrand had first to pay obeisance to Catherine. This became so blatant that the British press lampooned her. Napoleon was furious and ordered Talleyrand to break off the liaison. Talleyrand hedged. He was unprepared to relinquish Catherine. He countered with an offer to marry her to regularize the liaison. To his surprise, Napoleon took him up on it. By a strange twist of fate, Catherine's husband happened to be in Paris at the time. And for a substantial sum at a sinecure job in Batavia, both supplied by Talleyrand, he agreed to a divorce. The matter was hastened through, and 10 days later, Catherine became the wife of Talleyrand, who settled half his fortune on her. The ceremony was witnessed by Napoleon and Josephine. "Your wife is not so stupid after all," observed Napoleon dryly. "Sire," came Talleyrand's enigmatic response, "she has the beauty and the wit of a rose." 3 years later, Talleyrand was made Prince of Benevento, and Catherine was elevated to the status of princess. By then, his ardor was cooling for her. She was running to fat and seemed more stupid and naive than ever. In addition, she was none too faithful. The last straw came when she had an affair with the chief chamberlain to Prince Ferdinand, later King of Spain. In 1814, Talleyrand made her an annual allowance of 60,000 francs on condition that she live in England and did not return to France. After enduring 12 months in London, Catherine went back on her promise and settled again in Paris. Though she lived there for 20 more years, Talleyrand never saw her again and was profoundly relieved when he learned of her death. But the remark made by Napoleon at their wedding ceremony leaves us to wonder, just how stupid was she? Our time is up till we meet again for another chapter of The Passing Parade. This is John Doremus. As always, thank you so much, and goodbye for now.
And early in the week, nice to hear our friends of 3AW Wangaratta and 2QN Deniliquin. We say hello to you.
Indeed. And Sue and Jeb Brooks joined us. Hello, Sue.
Hi, boys. We lived in Parkdale for many years. The house my partner bought was from a deceased estate. And I, being a light sleeper, used to wake at all hours, and I'd smell certain things, like something cooking or aftershave that my partner never wore. We went on and we had a couple of kids, and it wasn't until speaking to a neighbour that I found out that the deceased estate, well, I knew it was a doctor's surgery, the deceased estate, the doctor actually passed away in his waiting room, waiting for his next patient.
Yes.
And I'd smell all these weird smells like toast cooking and, Old Spice aftershave. The doors would go open and close on their own, and I'd tell the kids when they were older, the doctor's not happy, you're not being good. But the dog would also growl at certain times for no apparent reason. And it was, I was happy with it. I kind of missed my doctor, but
Yes.
yeah, a patient rocked up for his appointment and found the doctor deceased at his desk.
And did you check out about the doctor? Did you look into his history?
We did. We actually kept getting a lot of mail for him for about 10 years from the medical board. And I kept saying, deceased estate, no longer walking the earth.
Yes.
But no, it was quite crazy. And but my little dog used to he's still with me. His hackles would go up and he'd sort of growl for no reason, and it was just amazing.
But it didn't worry you. You tended to quite enjoy it.
Oh, well, he didn't worry me. He wasn't going to hurt me, was he? If I needed a checkup, maybe he could.
Well, that's right. He's always there if you can suffer the old spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and the burnt toast.
Yes, that's right.
But Sue, was he into bulk billing, you ask?
I wouldn't know. He passed before my time there.
Yeah. I would imagine, thank you, sir, Bruce, in any home that is more than 50 years old and people live in them, as I do, more than a chance that somebody's passed away inside that house.
Oh, a very good chance.
Yeah.
Oh, the odds are in the favour of somebody passing.
So maybe ghosts do hover.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a ghost there.
No, or not a visible one, perhaps, yeah. Like Casper.
Margaret, good evening.
Oh, hi, Bruce and Phil.
Hi,
Yes,
Margaret.
And hang on, before I've got there, I'd advise that last lady to make sure that she gets smoke detectors and stuff in her house.
That she gets what? Margaret?
Sorry?
That she gets what?
Smoke detectors in her house.
Yeah.
To protect
All right,
herself.
because of the toast.
Because
yes.
that sounds very strange.
Yeah.
Make sure, just tell the lady to make sure she's got smoke detectors with as minutes of housing or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't neglect yourself. Get them because that could be a warning.
I'm sure she probably has them.
Yeah, good point, actually.
What else, Margaret?
Okay. I'm looking for someone. I'm looking for a person from my past.
Yeah.
Known as Kathy and Steve. Not Jeremy. Kathy and Steve owned a milk bar in St George's Road, Preston.
Right.
Okay?
How long ago?
And it's Margaret Joe that's looking for them.
All right.
Okay, that's we have. I hope they're listening.
Bruce asked how long ago?
That's
That's a good
quite
question.
a while ago. I'm in my 60s now, so. But I'm sure. I'm just hoping. Anyway.
Okay, we're looking for.
Margaret and Joe from Preston, George's Road, Preston.
And they had a milk bar, did they, Margaret?
No, the Hansons got the milk bar. They broke up, went back to Italy. His wife, not.
No,
Steve
but
hasn't gone back. We're trying to find him.
yeah, you said you're looking
Just
for.
tell him I'll give the number after he can contact us.
Okay, you're looking for
I
Kathy
know
and
they were trying to
Steve.
contact us. It's not. It's Kathy and Steve owned a milk bar.
Yeah.
Knew Maria Jeremic and Joe Caruana.
Okay.
And Margaret Caruana.
So I'll take you off air and we'll take your phone number. Should they be hearing this and alerted by others, they could ring us. All right?
Yes, the milk bar was in St George's Road, Preston.
We'll give the phone number. 13 past 11, 3AW. John at North Melbourne, Emma at Richmond, and your calls are welcome. 96 900 693. Go to North Melbourne now. John?
Good evening, Bruce and Phil.
Oh,
Yes,
hi, g'day.
John.
Several years ago, I was house sitting in a large two-storey mansion just by the Yarra, and my bedroom was upstairs. I always felt somewhat vulnerable because when you sleep upstairs and you're alone in the house, you always feel that something might be happening downstairs that you're not aware of. Anyway, one night I woke up in my bedroom and my bed faces the open door of the room. And what I saw was a tall, dark silhouette of a man with his arm raised. I shrieked in terror and my whole body shuddered. And then the silhouette melted away. It was the most eerie thing, and I could not explain it, but it was definitely not a dream because I got up and I was sweating.
It only happened once, did it?
It happened only once, Phil, And I learnt, well, I had known for some time that the house had been a cottage back in the 20s for some workers who were doing some work by the Yarra. So I surmised, or I suspected that, you know, you could think maybe the ghosts of some of those working men were still present in the house. But that's, you know, I'm not really in that direction.
No.
But I surmised and I speculated on that. And it was very eerie, Bruce and Phil. But just in general, in the still of the night, do you sometimes hear noises?
Yeah, I think we all do.
I hear crack. I hear a lot of crack.
A lot of what?
Crack.
What it is, it's depending on the weather. Your house moves a bit, John, and creaks, you know, on the foundations.
I think it could be the frame of the wooden frames of the houses adjusting, especially as the seasons change.
Well, yes, I think a lot of that happens, and that can play havoc with your imagination, as that man did, that ghost-like figure.
And more so if you live on your own, I think.
All right, John, thank you for that eyewitness account there. Dave at Wonthaggi. Hello, Dave.
Well, may I just pay tribute to the fantastic assistance given to me by the staff at Leongatha Hospital, to those men and women who are able to resist the taunts and envy of fellow students when younger, to study diligently enough to acquire the skills to become clever doctors and nurses, because thanks to these folks, you know, and the surgeons and specialists, it's now been discovered that I have an entirely treatable form of cancer. In the meantime, they made my stay at the hospital fantastic, including a few months ago when I had atrial fibrillation. And parents, please support your children as they seek to achieve. At present, Australia is having to import so many other doctors to combat the stupidity of the tall poppy syndrome here, and for which my daughter is repeatedly attacked by some of the spoiled brats at her school. I had hoped that after 6 years they might have grown up, but it seems that the effect of Harry Potter, as we have been talking about more or less in a way, has been far worse than realised. His books arrived just at a time when Australian schoolchildren were beginning to act more responsibly, and now my daughter keeps being told by children they worship the devil, and they prove, to prove it, they behave like it as well, you know, with both physical and psychological bullying.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I just to let you know that, chaps, I've thanks to these clever brains, these clever people, I would not be around very soon if it hadn't been for them. Those saved my life.
Oh, well, that's a very big pat on the back and a very big thank you to those who have assisted you.
Hats off to the doctors in Leongatha.
Thank you, Dave, for your call. Danny at Eltham. Good day, Danny.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Yes, good, Danny.
Welcome.
Oh, I said I wasn't going to ask you that, but anyway. Yeah, look, I've had 2 ghost experiences. Probably the eeriest one was we had a contract to fence off the NTA towers next to a little town called Doohan, which was out of Shepparton. And we'll motelling it from there to the worksite over the 2 weeks. One morning, just after sunset, walked up and I saw something on the tractor, which was the post hole digger. And I swear it was an old man. And I turned to my mate who was known to spin a yarn, and this was the owner of the company, and we both froze. And I said, "What did you just see?" And he said, "I just saw an old man on the tractor." And straight away when he said that, I knew 100% what I'd seen. And we told the publican that night, and he said that apparently the old owner of the Doohan Hotel, or the Doohan pub, disappeared without a trace, and no one ever knew where he went.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was just something that was a freaky experience, and I know what I saw, and I had it confirmed by him.
Incredible. You both saw it.
Yeah.
Both saw it. But the more important thing was, because he was known to spin a yarn, I asked him, "What did you just see then?" And I didn't want any nonsense, and he said, "I saw an old man sitting on the tractor." And this was as we were approaching the tractor to start it up for the morning's work.
Oh. Was that the only experience ever?
No, there was another time where I was coming around a bend through Cranbourne on the South Gippy Highway. Came around a bend just before Five Ways. It's a well-known right-hand tight curve. And there was a lady in a long dress holding a little girl's hand walking across the road. I swerved and she went through the bumper bar. And I was with the same guy. We were going to load up for the fencing job. And I said, did you see that? He didn't see a thing. He wasn't watching at the same time, he said. I contacted an historian in Cranbourne after that and found out that a little girl and lady were killed on that corner about 45 years before that moment. And that was about 15.
So at the time you thought they went under your car, did you?
No, I'd swerved and I thought I'd hit her, but she and the little girl disappeared as my bumper bar would have made contact. So, yeah, two pretty freaky things.
Yeah, they were. They certainly were.
Thanks for sharing them,
Danny,
Danny.
thanks. Thank you for your call, and hold on, and I'll get you a pancake parlour voucher.
Oh, thank you.
For you to go along. They're open 24 hours at High Point, Doncaster, and Malvern East, and you can take your friends or family and enjoy an afternoon treat at the pancake parlour, which is just lovely.
Congratulations.
So don't hang up. Hold on there, Danny. And thanks for your call. Yes, fancy seeing the old bloke on the tractor, the two of them at the same time.
Yes. Now, what about yourself? Have you ever had an experience? Thanks.
Ken at Preston. Hello, Ken.
Yeah, hi, fellas.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 2, my sister was in the old Royal Children's Hospital in Grantham Street, and my mother used to go every day. And she died 4 days before she was 9. And when she passed away, my mum, and I suppose I do know, she had her home in her bedroom the day before the funeral in her coffin. When I was 8 years of age, I was in bed, sound asleep, and I saw this white figure at the end of my bed. And I was awake, I was looking at it, and I saw my sister, and I leant forward to touch her and just disappeared.
Oh. So was that a pleasing experience or a sad one for you?
It made me feel good because from 2 years of age, I was at that hospital every day of my life for my mother to visit my sister, and to be able to see her when I was older, it probably was a good feeling.
Well, and it only happened once.
It only happened once, mate. And I'm 66 now. It's never happened ever again.
Interesting.
Amazing, Ken. Very heartwarming.
Hey, Ken, thank you very much. Most of these stories, I hope, are not frightening you as you're getting into bed. But most are heartwarming, and most have a feel-good feel about them.
Yes, and not about poltergeist, for goodness sake.
No, well, it's not.
No.
Well, night's only young, isn't it?
Do you remember the old Children's Hospital in Pelham Street, Carlton? Still there?
Not really, no.
It's the old brick building. It used to be the St Nicholas Hospital.
So?
Well, I'm just saying the building exists, but of course it's moved long since.
Yeah.
But my father used to do honorary work there. That's why I'm familiar with it.
Okay, thank you very much, Ken. Mark and Maria with you soon. 11:20. Mark at Watsonia.
Going, guys. I've got another ghost story for you, and now for the disbelievers and the cynics, this is one that happened about 25 years ago down at Chelsworth Park in Ivanhoe, at the end of the ninth hole, adjacent to the golf course there. Bruce, that's around your neck of the woods. You probably know it.
Yes.
It was about midnight. Myself, a dear friend of many years, and two girls. We were out playing on the swings and slides. We had a couple of drinks, to be honest, but we were in no way inebriated. And it was a dark, cold night. The four of us were there. We were having fun. Myself, my dear friend, who was an absolute cynic, and these two lovely young ladies. Anyway, in the distance at about 20 metres, we happened to see a figure just casually stroll across the grass towards the Yarra River, and it was a white pair of pants. It was all that was visible. Now, we didn't say a thing to at the exact moment, but my friend did turn to me and said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yes, I did." And he said, "Let's get out of here." Not in those exact words. He might have used an expletive. But the four of us saw it. I happened to see Susie about 3 years ago. This is many years later.
Right.
And I said, "Susie, give me your recollection of that night." And she repeated it verbatim. So four of us saw this, and to any of the doubting Thomases out there, there is other elements. There is life, or there is another other world between here and heaven or hell.
Yeah, but you saw a pair of white pants.
Yeah, yeah. And now I'm figuring it was right adjacent to Charlesworth Park where there's two or three cricket grounds.
Yeah.
And now they looked like they could have been cricket whites.
Oh, I see.
So there was nothing visible from the waist up. And as I say, I was walking directly towards the water, to the water's edge, and it scared the bejesus out.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
So just finally, seriously, we cannot be blinkered with these matters. There's too many reported sightings, and John Pinkney's written some great books about these.
Yeah, yes, he has.
So for the doubting Thomases, just have a read of some of the John Pinkney stuff, and it's hard to disbelieve some of the very, very credible people that have reported these sightings.
Yes, especially in the world of, well, it's outer space, isn't it, with Pinkney mainly?
I think you're right. And many haunted houses in Britain, aren't there, some of the stately homes?
But I would say, Mark, that seeing a pair of cricket pants, he could be looking for his ball or his wicket or just about to go home.
Well, they might have been hanging on someone's clothesline, Mark.
Well, it could have too, dangling in the breeze.
Maybe, yes.
It may not have been too sinister.
No,
unless, of course, the other witnesses can vouch for it.
Yeah, well, the lady said she saw the same thing.
Yes, a pair of white pants. Marie at Doncaster.
Maria, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you.
That's good. I don't have a ghost story, but I wanted to ask you, Philip, you have been to a restaurant in, I'm not sure the name of it, but I want to take my husband for his 60th.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the restaurant is in, near the city.
It might be the Olive Jar in Rathdown Street,
yes.
Carlton.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the one I want. I hear you talk all the time about it.
It's fabulous. It was formerly called La Contadina, and it's at 168 Rathdown Street, Carlton, run by Giovanni, a singing waiter who does Elvis and Dean Martin songs at the end of the meal.
Ah, good. I've always heard you talk about it, and I want to take him. I just want to do a surprise.
Yeah, highly recommended by me, Maria.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking like 10 people, but it's just before Christmas, so I need to book it.
Okay.
But I knew you. I heard you talk about it all the time.
Do you know what? I'm going to give you a phone number right now. How's that?
Oh, okay.
For the Olive Jar, all right?
Okay, go.
Are you ready for it? Okay, let me just find it on my little programmer here, and I'll give it to you right now. La EFGHIJKL. And have you got a pen handy?
Yep.
9347 6173.
Okay, 24 minutes. Sandra at Tacoma. Hello, Sandra.
Oh, good evening, Bruce and Phil.
Hi.
I have three very quick ones, and if I don't get through them all, you just tell me, please.
It's all right.
Yes. When I'd unfortunately lost a couple of babies, in utero, and so when I was actually expecting my first child who went first term, I was about 5 months pregnant, went to bed very tired that evening. I don't know how long I was asleep. Suddenly, something woke me up suddenly. Must have been off with a fright, wide awake. And I remember opening my eyes and looking, and there, would you believe, were two little faces and shoulders, not the whole bodies, with little bits of, wispy hair, pretty little faces. One looked just slightly older than the other, which, coincided with what had happened. And they just seemed to be looking towards my tummy. I got initially a fright, but I looked and I felt comforted, and I felt that they were the spirits of the two little ones I hadn't carried, and that baby was fine. I had two others later.
Well, how reassuring.
That was really beautiful. The other thing is our lovely old friend Laurie died a few years ago, and he had a wonderful rose garden in front, and everyone commented, and he loved dogs, absolutely. Anyway, one morning I was opening curtains on that side. It was probably, maybe a year or whatever after he died. And as I did, there in the split second was Laurie in his gardening tracky ducks, just standing in the garden, not looking at me, just, and I was thinking, oh, there's Laurie. And I spun around and I thought, he died, a year ago. And the last one was, we had a beautiful man who was almost like a father and a puppet to the children, for a grandfather for years. And he lived much further down the street. And he had died probably a month earlier or so. I was out doing shopping, came back, and I stopped and I thought someone was in the house because I could smell something that was, foreign to the house. And I was a bit scared, but I sort of crept in and very quietly had a look around, and nothing was there. But when I came back to this area, not far in from the front door, maybe about 8 feet in from the front door, I could smell it again. And I thought, that's so familiar, what is it? And then I realised he always used to wear blue strata, and it was the smell I could recognise.
Oh, gee.
Now, I've had a few things happen in my life that have been interesting like that, but they were quite touching.
They were, and quite positive, weren't they?
Oh, they were very positive.
Yeah.
I prefer to look at the positive in things if you can, rather than the negative,
You must be very receptive to that sort of thing.
Yeah, good stories there.
Each happened when I wasn't expecting it.
Of course.
I wasn't dwelling on it for it to happen. It just happened.
That's
It
lovely.
just happened, yes. Okay, thank you very much.
Sandra, hold on. We've got a hamper for you from Hamper World.
Oh, thank you.
A Hamper World Christmas a Hamper World Christmas hamper valued at $100 for your Christmas hamper. You can dial up hamperworld.com.au, but we're giving you one, and you can enjoy it over Christmas.
Do you know, I appreciate it and I accept that. Thank you. About 4 or 5 years you've been doing this for a while, haven't you?
Yes, this will be delivered to you in about 3 weeks.
Okay, don't hang up. For heaven's sake, hold the line, Sandra, if you would, please, in Tacoma. And thanks, Hamper World. You're very, very generous. Hamper World Christmas hamper. You can get it at hamperworld.com.au.
Yeah, lovely surprise, Sandra.
Tony at Mooney Ponds.
Yes, hi, Tony. Welcome to Nightline.
Stay on the line, did you? No. Neil at Teesdale.
Hi, Neil. Must be a phone problem. They couldn't both have dropped out.
Must have.
Phone back, guys, if you can. There's still time. Tony, Neil, and reminding you Sunday night at 8, Bruce and Phil return for Remember When. What's on for the weekend, big boy?
Indeed. 96900-693. That's our phone number. Anything you'd like to talk about, and ring us now. Who's there? Ruth, is it?
Hello, Ruth.
Hello, both again. How are you?
All right.
Hey, good. Thank you.
Now, I hope you're not going to consign me to the world of the crank.
No, not at all.
But the Irish have a thing called being fey, F-E-Y. It means otherworldly.
Right.
So if you're someone who sees the little people or sees ghosts, you're considered fey. Now, I think some human beings have a natural form of radio.
Yes.
And they can pick up certain things. They just have it. You can call it intuition, you could call it whatever you like. Anyway, when I was 3 years old and taken to Port Arthur, I sensed the presence of my great-grandfather there. Now, he'd been a convict, so it wasn't spoken about in the family. And yet I sensed him there. I sensed that my blood had been in that place. And, of course, years later I got the confirmed knowledge that my great-grandfather was transported and was in Port Arthur. And another thing was a man I worked for, and we had a fairly close relationship. And when he died, he appeared to me the next day, or the next night, actually, sitting on the edge of my bed. And please don't think anyone cultivates these things, because it's the most terrifying thing to have happen. And I actually said to him, "Go away, you're frightening me." And he said, I'm worried about Mum and Dad. And I said, I'll look into it, just go away. And a year later, his mother came to me and she just said to me, I see him too. And we made comparisons, and I said, you know, he was just very worried about you.
And he was a talking ghost.
Oh, well, all I can say is, Phil, I heard it in my head.
Oh, yes.
I heard what he was saying. The same thing happened when my partner died, and I was going under a lot of stress, and my dad came to me, his voice came to me, and he said, stand on your dig, which is what he always said, meaning stand on your dignity and be on your best behaviour.
Mm.
And his voice came to me as clear as a bell. And with any of these things, like, you know, I know there are people who say they have this and they have that, but it is so terrifying, it's not something you'd even want to cultivate. So I just say, I spoke to a priest after the business with the man I worked for, and he just said to me, look, you were very close. Other people have spoken to me about this kind of thing. It's very, very common. Mm. So all I can put it down to is that some people just have whatever it is in their brain or whatever that they've got that. But when I see these, you know, theatrical psychics, I treat it with a grain of salt as well, because I think a lot of them are accurate, but a lot of it's show business as well.
Oh, of course, yes.
You know, but all I'm saying, like that lady talking about the two spirits of her little baby,
yeah.
You know, I believe your ancestors take those children and they're looked after by your ancestors. Human beings are more than flesh and blood. We've got capabilities in us that are untapped. And quite often yourself, when you wake up early in the morning and someone's passed and they pop into your head just before you wake up, that's probably because you're in what are called delta waves with your brain, and probably something in that gives you a kind of a psychic thing.
Yeah. Ruth, that's very profound and a lot of common sense there. I hope we haven't scared you so much tonight with these stories of ghosts. I think most of them have been very positive, and I think in terms of pictures and mental pictures in the mind play a very big part in it.
I think most of those stories are very reassuring.
Thank you for the call, Ruth.
The sure signs that you're getting old. You're asleep, but others worry that you're dead. Your back goes out more than you do. You quit trying to hold your stomach in no matter who walks into the room. You buy a compass for the dash of your car. You're the proud owner of a lawnmower. Your best friend is dating someone half their age and isn't breaking any law. Your arms are almost too short to read the newspaper. You sing along with elevator music. You'd rather go to work than stay home sick. You enjoy hearing about other people's operations. You no longer think of speed limits as a challenge. People ring at 9 p.m. and ask, "Did I wake you?" You answer a question with, "Because I said so." You send money to the ABC. The end of your tie doesn't come anywhere near the top of your pants. You take a metal detector to the beach. You know what the word equity means. You can't remember the last time you laid on the floor to watch television. You get into a heated argument about pension plans. You got cable for the Weather Channel. You can go bowling without drinking. You have a party and the neighbors don't even realize it. And people send you this list.
Copyright restricts distribution of this piece by any means of duplication.
Pathetic.
Oh, no, did he
Right over the
did he
tag,
cut
yes.
right over your tag?
Yes.
Can we ever record that?
Well,
and
do the
replay?
tag again.
Copyright restricts distribution of this piece by any means of duplication.
Now we're saying good night from Nightline until Sunday night at 8 when we're back for Remember When. Thank you indeed for your company. It's been a lovely week and hope it's a great weekend for you all. The sun will come up tomorrow and Kevin John will be here to see that sun dawn, or the brand new day dawn across Australia with Australia Overnight.
Okay, we've got tomorrow off, but looking forward to Sunday night at 8 for Remember When.
Indeed. Good night, Samuel, Carter, and Amelia and Emily and Charlotte, Sweet Ella Grace, little William Oliver, and Sophia Grace. I'm Bruce Mansfield.
And I'm Philip, spending tomorrow at the Melbourne Museum in the Carlton Gardens.
Oh, what's on there?
Well, checking out on history and what's happened in Victoria in the last 200 years.
What's happened in the gardens? What are you looking at?
Well, I won't be in the gardens, I'll be in the museum, in the gardens. But I'll tell you about it Sunday night.
And what's there?
Well, we know what's there. There are dinosaur bones, Aboriginal artefacts.
What's of interest and what's the link with you?
I'll tell you Sunday night.
An artificial bone or a dinosaur?
I'm sure that's where my ancestors are,
Oh,
Bruce.
really?
Perhaps. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I look forward to those, a multitude of stories Sunday night.
Dream time and all that.
Oh, wonderful.
Thanks, Bianca.
You go back to those days, do you?
We will.
Well, here's my tribute to the stars. They've entertained us all week. The trainers, the jockeys? No, those horses, those glorious horses.